Hi, my name is Annie. Welcome to the Walking Word, where we go through the Bible in a year. For us to be able to finish the Bible in a year, you need to read at least 5 chapters a day. And I'll be walking you through Genesis chapter 32. Let's go. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters goodbye. Then he set out on his journey back home, while Jacob continued on his way. Then God's messengers encountered Jacob. When he saw them, he said, "This is God's encampment." So he named the place Mahanaim. Mahanaim. Mhm. Embassy to Esau. Jacob sent messengers ahead to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Edom is the lineage. Later on in scripture, even as we move towards the prophets, you'll see a lot of the curses around Edom. Great. So Jacob sent his messengers ahead to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, with this message. Thus say to the Lord Esau, your servant Jacob speaks as follows. I have been staying with Laban, and I have been detained there until now. I own cattle, asses, and sheep, as well as male and female servants. I am sending my Lord this information in the hope of gaining your favor. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, we reached your brother Esau. He is now coming to meet you, accompanied by 400 men. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. Jacob was very much frightened. In his anxiety, he divided the people who were with him. Again, cunning Jacob, very strategic Jacob. So now he's like, oh my goodness, my brother, who I stole his birthright, I stole his blessings, has said he's coming to meet me, and he's coming to meet me with 400 men. So Jacob quickly decides, okay, half of my team, you guys go in a different direction. Half of us will, wait for Esau to arrive. Okay, so Jacob was very much frightened. In his anxiety, he divided the people who were with him, as well as his flocks, herds, and camels, into two camps. If Esau, now this is Jacob speaking, if Esau should attack and overwhelm one camp, he reasoned, the remaining camp will still be alive. Then he prayed, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, you told me, O Lord, go back to the land of your birth, and I will be good to you. I am unworthy of all the acts of kindness that you have loyally performed for your servant. Although I crossed the Jordan, here with nothing but my staff, I have now grown into two companies. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau. Otherwise, I fear that when he comes, he will strike me down and slay the mothers and children. Yourself said, I will be very good to you, and I will make your descendants like the sands of the sea, which are too numerous to count. That's such a beautiful prayer. Sometimes to remind God of the promises he gave to you. After passing the night there, Jacob selected from what he had with him the following presents for his brother Esau. So he took part of the things he had, a part of his wealth, and divided some for Esau. 200 she goats and 20 he goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels and their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 she asses and 10 he asses. He put these animals in charge of his servants in separate droves. And he told the servants, go on ahead of me, but keep a space between one drove and the next. To the servant in the lead, he gave this instruction. When my brother Esau meets you, he may ask you, whose man are you? Where are you going? To whom do these animals ahead of you belong? Then you shall answer, they belong to your brother Jacob, but they have been sent as a gift to my lord Esau. And Jacob himself is right behind us. He gave similar instructions to the second servant, and to the third, and to all others who followed behind the droves, namely, thus and thus shall you say to Esau, when you reach him. And be sure to add, your servant Jacob is right behind us. For Jacob reasoned, if I first appease him with gifts that precede me, then later, when I face him, perhaps he will forgive me. So the gifts went on ahead of him while he stayed that night in the camp. Okay. And we can see how witty Jacob is because these are things we do them even today where we offer gifts of apology or sometimes they can be used manipulatively. So not all gifts are good gifts. Um, But let's continue. The struggle with the angel. In the course of that night, so of course, Jacob has sent out his guys with the cattle to go ahead of him before he meets Esau. That night, as he sleeps, in the course of that night, however, Jacob arose, took his two wives and the two maidservants. You remember his two maidservants. So his wives are Rachel and Leah, then the maidservants, Bilhah and Zilhah, right? He took his two wives and the two maidservants and his 11 children and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had taken them across the stream and had brought over all the possessions, Jacob was left alone there. Then some man, just some man, mhm. Then some man, some versions say the angel of the Lord, the messenger of the Lord, but we know it is the Lord manifesting himself as a man. I don't know how, yeah, as a man. Jacob was left there alone. Then some man, a form of man, wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Can you imagine from the wee hours of the night till dawn? You're just wrestling and fighting with someone. When the man saw that he could not prevail over him, he struck Jacob's hip at its socket so that his hip socket was wrenched as they wrestled. The man then said, let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob said, I will not let you go until you bless me. God, I'm not letting go until you bless me. The man asked. He answered, Jacob, you shall no longer be spoken of as Jacob, but Israel, because you have contended with the divine and human beings and have prevailed. You've contended both with heaven and earth, and you've won each time. So you are no longer being called Jacob, you'll be called Israel. Jacob then asked him, do tell me your name, please. He answered, why would you want to know my name? With that, he bade him farewell. Jacob named the place Peniel, because I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared. And that's the meaning of Peniel, being able to see God, a manifestation of God, and still live. Because we know for those people who see God, you can't live. At sunrise, as he left Penuel, Jacob limped along because of his hip. That is why to this day the Israelites do not eat the sciatic muscle that is on the hip socket. Uh-huh. In as much as Jacob's hip socket was struck at the sciatic muscle. Interesting. We continue when Jacob, in chapter 33, when Jacob meets Esau, his brother.